San Francisco Chinatown. Chinatown in 1848, after the first batch of Chinese arrived in California to rush for gold. To connect the Chinese with the needs of American society, the Chinese people naturally built the oldest Chinatown in Grant Avenue, Dubin Street, San Francisco as the center. This is Old Chinatown, the year 1866, San Francisco. Chinese Singles Community. In 1882, because of the restriction of the Chinese Exclusion Act to support their families, the Chinese people in San Francisco's Chinatown did not go back to their homes, for fear that they will not be able to return to work and earn money to support their families. As a result, Chinatowns were dominated by men before World War II. Grocery store in San Francisco Chinatown. As early as 1807, Cantonese merchants brought silk, ceramics, seafood, tobacco, and other products to the United States for sale through grocery stores. In 1846, when the city government of San Francisco was formally established, the Chinese had already prospered in San Francisco, and grocery stores and Chinese restaurants had become essential places. Canada's first Chinatown. After 1842, people from Guangdong and Hong Kong immigrated to Canada. In 1858, British Columbia, there was a rumor saying there was gold located in the Fraser Valley. This made many Chinese immigrate to Canada to find gold. Canada's earliest Chinatown can be found in British Columbia. New York Chinatown. According to records, in 1858, a Cantonese businessman named Ken was the first Chinese to arrive in New York. It is said that he opened a cigarette shop in Park Road, selling a 30-cent cigarette on the streets of New York, providing cigarette lighters and oil lamps for the customers to use. Later, he ran a hotel in Mott Street and rented rooms to the Chinese who came here for the first time, which gradually formed a Chinatown. In 1870, there were only 200 Chinese in New York's Chinatown. During the era of Chinese exclusion, more than 2,000 Chinese from the west coast of the United States migrated to the east coast to work. By 1882, more than 7,000 Chinese lived in the Disclosure Street, Mott Street, and Zaiye Street in the Chinatown area. This picture shows New York Chinatown, the year 1909, Doyers Street. Boston Chinatown. In 1870, Chinese laborers poured into Massachusetts in large numbers. To replace the striking workers, 75 Chinese in their 20s were hired by a shoe factory in North Adams, Massachusetts. They settled in Ping On Alley, which gradually formed Boston's Chinatown. This area covers an area of 5 acres, with 3 main streets, nearly 100 shops, and nearly half of the population is Asian. San Jose Chinatown. In 1866, the Chinese built Chinatown in San Jose, California. In 1870, a fire broke out and Chinatown burned down. After that, the 500 Chinese who moved in newly built a Chinatown. In 1887, as many as 1,400 Chinese immigrated. However, after the enactment of the Chinese Exclusion Act, Chinatown was set on fire because it was designated a public nuisance. After that, the Chinese built Chinatown again. The picture shows the southern end of San Jose, California, which used to be a gathering place for Chinese workers and is now the main street of Santa Cruz.